Joining me right now is Cliff Albright. He's the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Cliff, thank you for coming in. So in the lead up to this, you called the bill in Georgia putting a little makeup and cologne on Jim Crow. Now that it is law, what do you say?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Exactly what I just said, that you can't clean up Jim Crow. You can't make it smell better or look a little bit better. It's still Jim Crow, and we're calling it Jim Crow 2.0. This bill is the biggest attack on voting rights and voting access, not just since the 50s and 60s, but since the onset of Jim Crow. You have to go back to Reconstruction to see this kind of attack, the breadth of the attack, the depth, the pace of the attack. Perhaps the most dangerous piece of this bill is the fact that it essentially buys into the big lie, Trump's big lie, and it empowers the state to do exactly what Donald Trump wanted the Secretary of State to do, which was to overturn what these counties had certified, to take over these local board of elections, and to overturn the election. If this law was in place during the most recent elections, then we would have had a very different outcome in not just the presidential race, but both of the Senate races that we had in January.
Is there any reason for that element of it? It seems to be the most damning of one of the most damning pieces of what is now law, stripping authority from the Secretary of State, giving it to other state officials, and they can remove and replace local election officials if they deem them ineffective. Which, by the way, I think that definition is going to be scarily up to interpretation.
Yeah, not only is that definition of ineffective going to be up to interpretation, but it's also going to be sabotaged by the other provisions of this bill. What they have essentially done, when you look at the other aspects, the technical aspects, the number of days that they've given for early voting, the number of days that they have to even certify, there are things in this bill that makes it almost impossible for the counties to administer the elections correctly. So they have set them up for failure, and then they have put in there the ability for the state to then use that rationale to take over from these local boards of elections. They've really set this entire thing up based on exactly what Donald Trump wanted them to do. When the Secretary of State said, "I don't have the power to do what you want me to do, Mr. President," guess what? This bill solves that problem for them. It is nothing more than a pure power grab in the most not just anti-democratic, but also anti-black ways, because it is all rooted in white supremacy. And when you look at the picture of the signing, right, the picture of
Let's put that up.
So, yeah, please, and you look at who he was surrounded by, that's very telling. They don't even care about the optics. They're not even trying to hide what it is that they're trying to do. And just looking at the paradox of that photo, that signing, as at that very moment they were literally dragging out a black woman legislator who I know personally, she is one of the most fiercest defenders of truth and justice that we have. For them to do that to her as they were signing a bill that was directly targeted at black and brown communities lets you know exactly what their intentions are.
Cliff, just real quick, your group, you filed a challenge, a legal challenge, a lawsuit to stop this bill. What happens now?
Yeah, the fight continues, and that's what we've been saying all along, that, there are different stages to this battle, and, we fought the legislative fight. We're still fighting our corporate accountability fight to get companies like Delta and Home Depot to get involved in this battle. But there's the litigation, right? And so we're going to fight this in the courts. We believe it's a violation of the Constitution, First Amendment and 14th Amendment. We got some pretty good attorneys on our side. I'll take an attorney that's pretty much like 50-0. And so, we feel very confident. But at the end of the day, in order to support our legal case, we've got to have H.R. 1 and H.R. 4 passed. The issue that your commentator was just talking
these are
about.
We need the voting rights, the voting reform bills coming from Washington, coming from the House of Representatives. Exactly. There's a lot going on here. Cliff, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.